What is up, podcast, and welcome to the Race Plays Podcast Network. We have another amazing show for you today. You know, this is going to be a really cool show, as always. You know, back in 2000, we were actually discussing with my friends here that are here in the studio. I'll let you know who they are in a few minutes here, but we were discussing like in the early 2000s, 2005, 2006, 2008. I was in a band called Buen Estar. I was playing congas for this massive band. It's a 12-piece orchestra, almost like two timbale players, 3 guitar players. I was playing congas. We had a singer. We had, again, 3 guitar players. Louis. We had Axel. We had Ozzy on the guitar. We had JP on drums, playing crazy cumbia drums. It was a huge sound, and we started to get momentum in the East LA area. Of course, it's hard to get, to get people to know who you are and stuff like that in LA. But once you do, you got to get that momentum going. You get that, that big head. You're doing these big shows. You're seeing all these bands. You're getting to play with the bands that you like and stuff like that. And you really, I remember this one show that we played in East LA. I don't. What was the name of the club? Safari Sam's. We were playing at Safari Sam's, and we're ready to go on stage. Just before we go on stage, and we're ready to crush it. We crushed every freaking show from there to downtown San Bernardino. We didn't give a crap. We were hitting everything hard. But then this 3-piece band comes up, and here's what I hear. Let me show you guys what I hear. This is incredible. Let me show you what I hear. I hear this freaking heavy killer drum going down. This time I won't wake up just to see which way to argue. Reggae guitar playing, the killer bass playing, of course. I'm not mistaken because I'm kind of old. Piccolo style. Jamaican kind of style, and that voice, that freaking, I call it Danielle from Oingo Boingo in Espanol. I don't know if I'm crazy or that, but that's what I hear, and I realize it's over for us. No, not like it's over, like we have to go become teachers like our friends did, but it's like a climax. It's like you hear this band, you're like, damn, you're just like, it's just intense sound. And this band consists of James Ramirez, Ed Velasquez, and of course, Wilfredo Mendez. The band is called Fitter, and I have 2 of the members with me, Mr. James and Mr. Ed. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Doing well. How you doing, man? I'm Ed. I'm a bass player, and then my buddy next to me here. Introduce yourself.
Hey, thank you for having us, Ray. My name is James Ramirez. Hayden Fitter.
Awesome, man. Like I said, just an amazing band. Was I right in that piccolo spot, James, or am I way off?
Actually, we were pretty inexperienced when it came to recording. So by the time we got to recording that, I actually have this Black Beauty I've had for years. So I had tightened it up really high and
to get that kind of piccolo sound, right?
To get the piccolo sound. But to be honest with you, I listened to it and I'm like, man, I wish I would have known what I know now.
To get the piccolo, dude, it sounded like it.
Yeah, it sounds like, the Black Beauty is one of those most recorded snares ever in history. So,
oh yeah, it's awesome. And then, because you get that snap, like when you're playing like that reggae, that ding, 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 and then you get that snap, that reggae, those offbeats, those and beats, those that reggae stuff. It just has to be, and it just sounds really incredible. It's freaking awesome. And then you got the bass player, James, right here. And what's crazy is, dude, like starts playing the bass and every once in a while stops playing the bass, and there's a timbales set in the middle of the stage, and he starts playing, grabs sticks and starts playing timbales, which was incredible. Like, it blew me and Eddie away, because the late Eddie Sedano was a timbale player, and we're like, dang, dude, the dude drops the bass and he starts playing timbales. It's freaking awesome. It just gets like we were like stoked, like, this is freaking awesome. It's cool, like, it's like everything. It's like Espanol. It's like Oingo Boingo. It's like it freaking Latin jazz. Everything's in there. There are some songs that I heard earlier today where you get a little jazzy, bro. There is some like jazzy bits to your drum playing too. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is.
And you were how old were you back then?
I mean, like maybe mid-20s,
Mid-20s, and you're
20s.
feeling it out. And
Yeah, influenced by a lot of the greats.
That's freaking awesome, man. Yeah, it was just amazing. And then, of course, that voice, Wilfredo Mendez, amazing voice, reminds me again of Danny Elfman. Has anybody ever said that, or am I crazy?
No, I've never heard that one, man. Like I have heard like maybe The Cure, like
80s. It seems like it comes from like he was almost like a guy that like sung in the 80s, like U2 or 80s style Danny Oingo Boingo, pero en Espanol.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
For sure, man. That's a compliment. We love Will. Yeah, man. As far as like bringing in the timbales and congas, that was something that it progressed as a band. Like we were a trio, of course, and the early part of our band, we just were writing more punk rock.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like more rock, punk rock, early 90s type thing.
Nice.
But we wanted to bring in a flavor of the stuff we were listening to as kids, like cumbia, Los Hermanos Flores, all kinds of like different salsa, like different music. So I think we were inspired to want to bring some of that in there. And that's why, I picked up timbales and wanted to pursue that. And, I'm not a great timbal player, but, just try to make it part of the song,
Yeah, but just to have that pop in there, it flowed. Like it wasn't like, oh, he's the freaking Tito Puente or anything like that. But it was like, dude, there's that pop in timbales in there. Everybody loves that stuff.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and then Will, since he wanted to do the congas and make it a thing, I guess, timbales, congas. And then, of course, James on drums. So we would have these little breaks of like percussion kind of thing. So, yeah, man, it was fun. It was fun. And, that was one of the things Fitter did, I guess. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. One of the, sadly, one of the members of course, not on this couch is Mr. Wilfredo Mendez. That voice is an incredible voice. I'll keep talking about it. Fortunately, he passed away last year, 2021, August 6th, this Saturday will be the anniversary of his passing. And he passed away of a rare form of cancer. And we'll talk about it as we get into it here. But I want to talk more about the band, like how you guys met, you guys, did you know each other for a very long time, or how did you guys get to know each other?
Well, I know James had Wilfredo in some classes, or he would see him around in elementary, as far as back as elementary.
Oh wow, you knew him that long?
Yeah, and that's cool. But I met Will in 7th grade at a school called LeConte Middle School in Hollywood. It's like really like down. It's like a block away from KTLA Channel 5 over there on Sunset. So it's like really close to there. Yeah, man. And I met him. He got me into rock music. At the time, I was just like into like rap and hip hop and stuff. Yeah. I grew up like in the hood, man, over like MacArthur Park area.
Oh,
like,
damn.
You see like gangsters getting jumped in the back of like in the parking lot where we lived. It's just crazy, dude. But yeah, man, I got into rock music. We had a drama class with Will, and one of our things was to do a lip sync project in front of the class. So he borrowed his brother's Nirvana Nevermind album, and we did a couple songs in front of the class. And I think that's the moment that I fell in love with being in front of people and rocking out and expressing myself, even though it was just with a broom,
That's cool. So you guys were like in drama class. They had you do like a little. So what you chose to do like a little Nirvana piece.
Yeah, everybody had a different. Some people did other artists, Anyways, but yeah, dude, that's what it was, like a lip sync, and yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
That's cool. So you got that experience. Were you in the same middle school, James? Or
I did. I did go to that same middle school, but I was a year ahead.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so we truly did. I mean, as far as, us coming together as a band, I mean, I met Ed in high school. It didn't happen until after high school that we truly came together.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It was like a little clique of like, long hair rocker dudes that would hang out in a certain part of the school, and that's how I kind of met James.
All the metal dudes
we were
hang out,
kind of hanging out, like Yeah, we would teach each other like guitar stuff, and we would talk about music. That was like the highlight of our day,
Hell yeah.
That and lunch, right?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't stick around too long there with them, because I like roaming the school looking for stuff,
That's true.
Looking at the ladies.
Yeah.
James was kind of ladies, man. Even before rock started, so
Right.
he was checking out the ladies.
Something like that, right? I guess.
Taking it at the bleachers, stuff.
Just scoping it out, huh? Just seeing all the views. Fantastic.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, like soon after high school, we played a talent show, and played like a Rage Against the Machine song or something in front of the school. And James was on drums, and I was on bass, and we had another guy on vocals. And that was like the first time that we actually got on stage.
That's when you kind of actually brought in instruments, you're playing the actual instruments, trying it out.
Yeah. Well, for Ed and I think that's the first time him and I
we both like
jammed and played,
in front of a crowd or anything.
For the talent show.
Yeah, for that talent show, whatever. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. So you guys kind of liked, so in your bio, it says you guys kind of liked different types of music. So you mentioned Rage Against the Machine, you mentioned Nirvana. Were you guys both in the same stuff, or what other things were you guys into at that time? Do you remember?
I think we kind of all had a different taste in music. It all met up somehow, and there were some common bands and here and there. I think I was the metalhead.
What was your thing with metal?
The metalhead.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had Black Sabbath.
Well,
you're wearing an Anthrax shirt.
Yeah, I'm wearing Anthrax.
By the way, shout out to Anthrax. You can be on my show as well. Just hit me up in the DM.
Yeah,
Scotty Ian can come down to my show and be awesome. Dude, so Anthrax and
things like bands like that, Megadeth,
Sepultura.
Oh man, well, I remember. It's funny you say Sepultura because I remember we would share music, and one of the albums I let Will borrow when we first started doing this band thing was Roots. That album, the Sepultura album. Roots,
oh yeah,
and then just the tribal and all that influence in that album, and it's still one of those albums that holds up really well, and very influential. So yeah, metal. Definitely,
awesome.
Definitely 90s music, Rage Against the Machine, Tool, man.
Oh yeah, Tool was sick. Tool was sick. Dude, that's all the stuff. Yeah, that same. You guys are about my same age, so you guys. Yeah, I was listening to all that stuff. What about you?
Like for me, the same. I wasn't like a metalhead. I've never been a metalhead, but I do like it. But my stuff was more, like Nirvana and like more,
You don't want to say it. No, it's Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam, but yeah, I'm a fan of Pearl Jam.
Awesome.
I like because
it was hip in the 90s. Like the whole grunge rock came in at that time. Yeah. Pearl Jam, Nirvana, all those bands.
Yeah,
and I think at our age, like I don't know if you like it was the same for you. Like in middle school, I was hardcore getting to metal, and then as I got into high school, punk rock, and then we didn't talk about it very much because we were punk rock, but we were like, dude, Eddie Vedder and those jam guys are pretty good, but we're not going to talk about it. Like, but they were dope. They were good musicians.
Yeah, and they have a punk element to them. If you really see them now, like they do have a punk element to them.
Oh yeah, especially the bass. You're listening to the bass, so
Jeff Ament,
hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Mainly that's like what did it for me, and then. A little bit after high school, The Clash was big on me. I started getting into the Ramones, like more like punk rock like that.
Damn.
But The Clash is one of my favorites that I can say. It's one of my favorite bands. I loved how they had the reggae thing going too, and the punk, and it's like a mixture of sound of type of sounds and rhythms. Like
that
I really
whole
like
kind of London scene, basically, what was going down in London at the time.
Yeah, with the reggae and all that. Yeah, that's true.
Punk rock, reggae, everything was going down in London.
For sure.
That's crazy, man. And what about Will? What was he into? Do you remember at that time? What did he bring to the table? Obviously, he can't, because everybody has something different. What did he bring that kind of tripped? Like think of something that kind of like tripped you. Like, whoa, dude, I never thought of like that band or something like that. Was there anything like that?
Radiohead.
He liked Radiohead a lot. But what tripped me out about him, like he was into acoustic music a lot.
Oh, crazy!
He started on acoustic, like. Playing with this friend of ours, like kind of doing like a not a trio, but just him and another guy, a duo on acoustic. And Yeah, man, he was big on acoustic music, but yeah, Radiohead was one of the bands that he liked. I mean, he liked a lot of bands, of course. Of course, Nirvana. He introduced me to all that. But yeah, I don't know if there was a band that I can think of that was like, oh.
Well, I think later on it was more like, definitely Radiohead. I remember, even though I had already heard this, Deftones was one more he introduced me a lot more to, and the different elements that they brought in. But then later on, like Manu Chao, Marley, even like Cohen, like
different
folk artists, a lot of folk artists,
Bob
Dylan,
nice.
James Taylor, I'm like, man.
He was into that, a lot.
It makes sense. Did he write a lot of the lyrics? Did he write most of the lyrics?
Yeah, he wrote all the lyrics.
All the lyrics. Okay, cool. So it makes sense. He was a singer. He liked folk music because those type of sounds, those type of like Bob Dylan, those type of guys, they tell stories. And so Wilfredo's writing these stories and for you guys, and it's killer. When does it become? Or, you guys are jamming here and there. Talk about the moment where it becomes like we're going to create this trio, this band together. How does that come about?
That was December 1999, I remember, because initially it was Wilfredo and myself that got together and really, wanted to do something. And we were looking for a bass player. And I'm all like, what about Ed? What about Ed? Because I had already played with him like a year before that. I already played with him, and off the bat, I love that energy right off the bat, and so we started that up, and we would invite friends over to our rehearsals, and it'd become a like a party pretty much, dude. Drinking and everything, smoking, everything. And it would come time for us to like leave the space, and the guys were like, oh well, we'll pay for another hour or two.
Like you guys did, like we did, like we rent the studio, and then it would just become a party. Charge $5 and everything. People come in.
We didn't charge, but we would just. I don't know. It kind of took the nerves away from when we actually ended up performing.
Oh, so it helped.
It helped.
That's dope.
It helped, yeah, because eventually more and more people started showing up that were friends from the neighborhood and
that's
school
awesome.
Friends, and
so you guys were able to concentrate, because for us it was like we would just get so wasted we couldn't play anymore, and so it didn't help at all. We had to kick everybody out.
No, we were young into the party. And
I'm not just talking about Buen Estar, but by the way, I'm talking to other bands too. I don't want to. Buen Estar was not too crazy party. There was other bands that I was in.
The rehearsal studio that we would rehearse at was like half a block from Hollywood High, where we went to high school.
Oh dang!
Was it called R&R?
Yeah, R&R.
R&R.
So everybody's right there local. You just make a phone call and everybody's over. Huh?
Yeah. People that Will grew up with at church, and
that's crazy.
It's, it was cool, and eventually we had our first show. In fact, I posted a flyer not too long ago. Our first show was in 2000 actually, at a backyard in like kind of like deep K-Town, and
dope. What did you guys think about when you? I mean, or maybe you weren't thinking about, because I know when I'm young, I'm like, we just didn't do it. What about when what were you thinking about as like, as a core, are we going to make a band sound a certain way? Were we going for a certain theme, or was it just jam?
I mean, I remember telling Will, I'm like, man, if we're going to do this, we got to do some music that can be remembered, at some point.
Nice.
I was heavily influenced by the big metal bands, and the way they've taken that to another level, and the popularity. I've always subconsciously always wanted that for our band, and it's one of those things where I'm all like, dude, we just play music, but there was other people around for a little bit that didn't want to keep it, I guess, eclectic in a way, because we were influenced by a lot of stuff. So,
right.
Some people just wanted to keep it simple, and Will and I, we were just kind of like, nah, man, let's just see what comes out. Let's just see what comes out. For the most part, we would sit at rehearsal sometimes not doing anything really, trying to come up with something. And but Will had already kind of developed a little repertoire where, or a little list of music we had already kind of started on. And, that whole Latin thing, man, like, you listen to bands like Puya, and I'm like, man, dude, that's sick, like,
dude, there was a lot of sick Latin bands around at that time. It was like you were just like hoping to like play with them or something like that. Like they were just sick, and definitely you did your goal because you created music that is memorable to this day. I mean, when I heard that you guys were going to do a show, and that's going to be the show that's coming up on August 13th, the Wilfredo tribute. So I was like, dude, Peter. I remember like I remember when I was telling you earlier how I first heard you, I was like blown away at the sound, because not every band that I hear, like, there's a lot of bands that I played with and hear, and I'm like, oh, cool, that's cool. But then there's certain, I'm like, damn, that's freaking. And you guys were one of those bands, and I probably like stalked you and messaged you like on MySpace or whatever it was back in the day. I was like, dude, you guys are awesome. And I probably asked like, where do you buy the CD? And you guys were like, hey, old man, they're not nobody see CDs anymore. You got to go to Spotify. But so I probably bothered you back then. But yeah, bands like you, and there was another band that I heard back in, I don't remember who they were, but like I would just like, damn, and I would just listen to it over and over again and just like just blow it out. And the same thing happened this week when I was just listening to you guys over again, is bringing back memories of that sound. There's just like killer sound. Let me try to play some more for the audience.
Cool, man. Thank you.
I want to play Sin Dolor if I can. Can you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
Sweet. That was better. That's that almost tropical reggae sound I'm talking about. You guys ready? And that voice, man.
Mañana yo me voy a acostumbrar. Mañana yo me voy a estallar. Mañana yo me voy. Ya no estoy. Hoy voy a sin dolor.
His voice is it's I don't know what to say. It's like when he goes to, I don't even know how to explain it. I was trying to figure it out this whole week. Like I don't sing, but when he goes to that almost belting, but he doesn't belt it. It's his soul. You're hearing like his soul come out, like in these songs. And it's not all, but certain points, like I don't know how to explain it. It's like when he does that, like it really like hits you. His voice is really, really insane. Though I don't know. Do you guys feel the same when you hear it like that?
It kind of, right now, like listening to that, it gets a little emotional, man. Because
sure. What was he like what was he like besides, of course, he was an artist. His passion was music. His passion was writing music. His passion was guitar. What was he like? Probably this might be a good question for James, since you grew up from elementary school. What was he like besides the guitar player, the artist, just a guy who maybe plays video games? What was he like as a person? Bring that to us.
So, I knew Will. Really didn't get to know him really more into high school, but from what I know, he's a altar boy. He was an altar boy in church, a Boy Scout.
Boy Scout.
Told us many stories about that stuff, and a lot of their Boy Scout troop came out to his funeral. What else? He was the baby in the family.
How many kids were there in the family?
3, right? 3.
Wow.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think it was 4, and he's the youngest. He was a baby in the family.
Wow, awesome.
So there was in talking to his pop, and I talk to his pop now and then, and he was the one. He was the baby. He was the one that they took care of.
Oh yeah.
Willie, he was an active guy, when we met him, riding bikes and, hiking and doing all kinds of activities, and always, telling us to do the same, and
Get off your butt and get on the bike.
But yeah, Will was probably one of the most humblest people I've met in my life. You know,
Wow.
and that comes from upbringing too. You know, his parents are humble people. You know, very very welcoming. You know, and I think to a certain degree, sometimes I would go to his house and, you know, I'd be wearing a Slayer shirt and, oh, dude, man, my mom, she's like,
Satanas,
hey,
get out of here.
She's all like, hey, can you like turn it inside out, bro? Like,
Inside out.
I'm all like, okay, you know, but it is what it is. But you know, she's a great lady and everything.
It's
but,
true.
You know, so yeah, I remember those little things, like, you know. But yeah, Will's a kind-hearted person, definitely believed in community, you know, and causes, a lot of causes, you know, was like socially political.
I hear that in that song. What was it? One
One Like Me.
One Like Me.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a protest song, isn't it?
It's I mean, we weren't really like a protest type of band, or he really wasn't like blatantly doing it.
Sure.
It was just more artistically, you know, putting out what he felt at the time, you know, especially with immigration, you know, that's
right.
It's really where it comes from. And the title of that album is "You Don't Belong Here, But We'll Use You Anyway."
Damn.
So
even see, that's what I mean. Like, it's so tasty and soft to your ear that you don't like, unless you sit there and listen to it. Like, that's why I was like, that's a protest song. Like, I mean, unless you sit there and listen to it and break it down, you don't know things like you just discussed. You said right now. That's crazy.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, there was some, you know, socially political, you know, theme underlying.
Just feelings that he had wanted to express in a killer, artful way.
Yeah.
That's cool. What about
man,
you?
He, you know, like everything that James said, he had a big heart. Very, you know, he was not about materialistic stuff, things, you know, man.
He'd go out of, at least the times that I you know, asked him for help, he went out of his way, man. And
that's cool.
You know.
Yeah, and his parents are very lovely people, you know, very kind-hearted people. You know, when I was young, they would always take me in when I would go visit, you know, after high school. They feed me, you know, like I was one of their kids, you know, and
that's how it used to be back in the day. Like, in the block, it would be like all the kids, all 5 kids from the block being at your mom's house, eating and stuff like that. You don't see too much of that anymore, huh? Like, like, you know, like, I mean, I don't have, my kids are right there, but no, like the neighbor kids aren't in there, like eating. It doesn't happen anymore.
Right?
You know what I mean?
It's weird.
It's the trip.
It's a newer generation.
Big time. It's totally different. Man, so it's cool because you guys were a tight unit. There was 3 of you guys playing all the time, doing different gigs. You guys are playing to the point, there was some point where, was it during the band, or had he had health problems prior, or was it you just found out when you guys were playing? During the time you guys were playing?
See, that's one of those things where, like, you know, I told you he was very active and we always knew him that way. And, you know, as I go through all these old pictures recently and little by little looking at performances and the physical change, you know, and I'm all like, man, you know, at that point, maybe he was already going through something and we all didn't know.
Nobody knew, dude. So the whole time you guys were playing, nobody knew he was sick or anything?
Because, you know, like, we play and it's like, you know, he'd be playing guitar like Will.
Yeah, like you didn't know, like he was.
No.
So I was just going to ask you, was like, at what point, like, did it affect his playing? Did it affect the gigs? It never really.
Not towards like the end, really, when, you know, he would have some mood swings, like he would forget things, you know,
very lethargic, and
we started noticing that then, and we were wondering, what is it, man? Like,
what's going on?
At one point, you know, like, I told him, dude, I told him, he was the one that used to tell us to get up our ass. I would tell him, you know, like I took him to run a couple times. At the time I was running marathons and stuff. So, and, you know, I thought maybe, you know, looking back at it, like, you know, like I thought that's what it was, but it wasn't, you know, he had something going on. And
what a trip.
And it was the sickness that he had. And
we get mad at him sometimes, you know, like, oh, dude, what are you doing? Like, you know,
because it affected his speech. I saw in the bio that it affected his speech. It affected his hearing a little bit, and so it's a trip that it didn't. I mean, he was still able to push it, like play guitar, do the gigs and stuff like that. So it's a trip.
Yeah. I really like the last year where we were actually playing something. We really only played like 3 or 4 shows that whole year, really. Because things weren't looking too great, and we.
So he got to a point where he did start a show, and then you were just like, let's kind of slow down a little bit.
Yeah, or we were just kind of also looking, maybe it was time to move on, or yeah, it was just.
True.
I wish we would have known what it was.
It was a rare. It was a tumor. But it was a rare form of cancer, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it really affects children.
Or children, like younger children?
Yeah, like it's seen most. It's a rare tumor, but most commonly shows up in children.
No way.
And there is a recovery rate, a very good recovery rate from it, and pretty prolonged, life. But Willie. It was not just that; it was a combination of other things that also, sped things up.
Right. I'm gonna say the name here. Tell me if I pronounce this wrong. Craniopharyngioma. Is that
craniopharyngioma?
It's a huge word.
Yeah, it is a very.
It's a huge word, and it's a rare form of tumor. That's crazy, and like you said, mostly affects children, and so it's a trip that we'll had that, and then also you had other illnesses, underlying illnesses as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And eventually succumbed August 6th. This coming Saturday is the anniversary of his passing. Crazy. The band Penguin Emperor. Talk about the Penguin Emperor. This is a tribute band to the Fitter guys.
So when Willie passed, I in my head and in my soul before he passed, it jolted everything we had going on personally in life. We kind of kept in touch, but we really didn't, and it was always this we couldn't communicate very well.
Well, he was sick, and so you guys kind of like,
all like, man, we got to do something, somehow maybe play live again. And then he passes, and there was no doubt in my mind that something like that needed to go down to pay tribute to him and the music of Fitter, because I don't know where we'd be, man. If we didn't have that, we spent what most people would spend during college we spent it in a band, those were our college years.
Awesome. What better? Like that's like for us, like musicians, like we loved it. Like hell yeah, we better than college for us. You know what I mean? Like musicians, that's like hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of wanted to, even before Will passing. I'm all like, man, I'm gonna put out some music on my own if I have to, and I'm gonna call it Penguin Emperor.
Nice.
He loved penguins.
Is that what the penguin? Is that why it's called like the? Is that what does Fitter mean? Like what's the whole penguin thing?
Well, the thing the little penguin, he had a stuffed animal of a penguin, but the thing that he always used to write on his notebooks back, like in 9th grade, like in early high school, was the little man inside of him. It's like a little stick man with a little dunce cap.
Inside the penguin?
Yeah, inside the penguin, there's a little man that's like a little stick man.
Yeah.
And he used to write, so that was part of like the first logo at first when he would write Fitter or whatever.
Hell yeah.
He would write that, he would do that, but then eventually, he was fascinated by penguins. So he wanted to bring them together, the little stick man with the penguin, and Wen kind of created it, or she created the logo with the penguin and the little man inside, the little man with the dunce cap or hat, whatever.
Bring the penguin and the guy together. There you go.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
He was like intrigued by emperor penguins, so that's why
it was dope.
I'm just gonna switch it up and say Penguin Emperor.
Penguin Emperor. It's members of Fitter. It's Rob June from Buen Estar, or from Rob June because he's famous now. Yeah. Rob June and other. There's a young lady who sings in the band as well.
Well, it's a total of 7 people. Definitely Ed and myself. Greg Hernandez from Mezcla.
Whoa, there you go.
Mezcla, but you know what, Greg at this point he's his own legend in LA. He plays with everyone and anyone. Maruja, who else, dude?
Greg Goyo,
that's him. Concepto. He played with Concepto Tambor for a bit. But I mean, many people like he knows people. He plays everywhere.
Yeah, he plays the gigger.
And Greggy's always been somebody that I will loved hanging with and loved his playing. So perfect. He's part of it. We have Rob,
Rob June.
Yeah, our homeboy.
Shout out to Rob June.
Yeah, Rob June.
AppleMusic.com.
Our homeboy Juan Carlos, we call him Juancho. He played in a band called Afición, who are actually reuniting for this event.
They're going to be there too?
Yeah.
Whoa, freaking awesome. Afición.
Afición.
They haven't played like in over 10 years, so
wow,
they're getting back together to do the tribute for Will.
Crazy.
It's going to be cool.
Him, our wonderful friend Marlene, who's singing with us a few songs is really a good part of the set. She's playing, and we know her from a theater that she owned many years ago, where she would allow us to throw shows at.
Where was that theater at?
It was in Hollywood.
We
grew up in Hollywood, so it was right in our neighborhood.
Nice.
I was going to say the streets, but like Wilton Place and near Fountain, around there. Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Near where KTTV used to be many years ago.
Dang.
Who else? And then Edwin Portillo,
Fosforo.
Fosforo, dude?
Played in Fosforo.
Wow.
Yeah. He played in Fosforo. So every person that's involved in this Penguin Emperor, project is somebody that we became close to in different stages of Fitter.
That's awesome.
Different parts of
because those are all the bands that were kind of around when we were playing, like Fosforo, all those bands that you guys and everybody was there was a lot of bands, man. So that's going to be a killer show.
Thank you. Yeah, we also have a couple like surprise guests that are going to come up and do something with us too. So
nice,
cool.
Have you guys played with this group yet, or is this the debut?
No, this is the debut. Really, we've just been rehearsing the set, getting the music together, and so
for almost a year too.
Yeah, almost a year.
Almost a year.
Just kind of once a week. We would get together once a week, kind of thing, and
get it tight.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
it's fun.
Hell yeah. That's going to be awesome, man. This coming Saturday, guys, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to share with about?
If you just want to check out, the not MySpace.
I got you back in MySpace. I got you. Took you all the way back.
Show. But no, if you check out our Instagram under Fitter Music, FITTER Music, MUSIC, and then also on Facebook, right? What is it?
Band
Fitter. Just search and you can look up our info on there and more info for the show. That's about it. I mean,
there you go.
Come on out, and support.
I mean, we should mention that even if you don't plan on going to the show, if you guys buy a ticket, you are helping a good cause. All proceeds for this show are going to Will's family.
Nice.
All proceeds. This is a collective effort with all the musicians involved, the venue, our friend Nancy, who helped us get the venue.
Yes.
And we are documenting it and recording it multi-track.
Whoa. This will be on Netflix. Fantastic.
Well, probably not. But yeah, we are planning on releasing that for future, use.
Nice.
And we will have merchandise like T-shirts and CDs for sale. Damn, I only made this one. I kind of fumbled the ball. I should have made more. I got this made like years ago, but maybe we'll release it and I don't know.
Yeah,
eventually sell them online or something. But we'll have T-shirts, CDs, and stuff for sale. Everything, all the proceeds to the Mendez family, of course, and. Man, just we can't wait. We can't wait.
Get there early.
It's an early matinee show.
Yeah.
This is at the Zebulon, right?
Yeah, the Zebulon.
Very, very great venue. It's in it's right where like LaSalle Park and like Lincoln Heights.
So LA, so meaning no parking, basically.
Yeah, actually there is parking in the neighboring streets.
This is the first for LA.
But get there early.
Suggest 3 maybe if you can get there at 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're starting off at 4. At 4, we're
the show starts right at 4. We have our wonderful friend Yault from Aslan Underground giving us a little monologue before the show. It's a timed event, unfortunately. So once 7 o'clock comes around, it's over, so
everybody out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks again, guys, for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, follow Fitter Music on Instagram. Follow them on Facebook, the Fitter Music on Facebook as well. Don't forget this, not this Saturday, but in 2 Saturdays from now, August 13th at the Zebulon from 4 to 7 p.m. It's $15 at the door, 21 and over. Make sure you get there early. You heard that there's going to be very limited parking. Get there, get the show, get there early, get the tickets, 21 and over, $15. Penguin Emperor. This band has put together a special body of musicians from that era are going to be at this show. You got to get to this show if you want to hear that Penguin sound, that Penguin Emperor sound, that Fitter sound. Get that merchandise, get those shirts, get those t-shirts, get those hats. Get down there August 13th again at the Zebulon, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's $15 only. You can't beat that deal. I mean, it's going to be incredible, guys. Thanks again for coming. Guys, thank you for listening to the show. Don't forget you can support this channel, Raise Flaves Podcast. Hit that support button, and you can sponsor us for as little as $1 a month. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.